Welcome back, everyone, to Open Line, talking about breast cancer and breast cancer awareness. I want to hit upon the impact on the African American community. They're at higher risk, right? What about that, and what sort of programs are you doing there?
Well, one of the things that we know is that African American women have about a 40% higher chance of death, and that can be for a number of reasons. It's genetic, it's access to care, there's a number of reasons, but we have some great educational materials, and again, for all people, but we have a program called Worship in Pink, and it's the whole month of October, and any church can sign up to participate. We had about 40 churches this year in the just in the mid-state area that signed up, and we provide all kinds of educational materials that can be handed out either during the church service, or sometimes there's a special service aside from that where there's a lot of education provided around risk factors, know your normal, etc. Just getting the word out. Survivors often speak, and reminding people that you don't have to be scared. That there's really nothing to fear. I think that is a big factor.
And I want to talk about your program. You talked about it at the beginning, ABC, but I bet there are people out there who could benefit from what you're doing. Tell us about it again a little bit, and where it meets and where others may meet.
Right.
It's a great program.
It's a fantastic program. I went through the program as a participant 3 years ago, and then it impacted my life in such a way that I wasn't expecting. I went in for the nutrition and the exercise. I knew things had changed. It had been a really long time since I had been diagnosed. What they told me to do then is not what they tell you to do now. It just looks different. I thought I should learn about this. And so I did. But the third part of the program is small group. And that, for me, was the biggest surprise. And for most women that go through the program, that's the biggest surprise. The number one reason when I ask people when they're coming to the program, what would you like to get out of this? They'll say education, community, and weight loss. And because most of them are women. And a lot of times, cancer treatments make you gain weight. That's the side effect of it. But when they leave, I'll say, what was the most important part of this process? And I'd say 95% of the time they'll say this journey part, which is what we call it, the small group. Because it's a place for you to explore your emotions, but it's not just a dumping of emotions. You do talk about your emotions, they're really important, but it allows you to create an action plan moving forward. So when you finish this 10-week program, it's a tremendous bond with these women because you're really developed trust, you've been working out with them, you've learned about food, and simultaneously you're beginning to explore your story. And there's a lot of head nodding that happens, which is what we call, when you relate to the other person, universality. You're relating. And it's really, really magical and transformative. So that's the part I love. It's not just dumping your story, it's also taking that story and creating something out of it and deciding, now what? What's next? Because there is a next. You are moving forward. And I would argue kind of like there's nothing to be fearful of. There is fear. Like I actually take issue with these shirts that say fearless or, no fear. I think what's really brave is when you have fear and you continue to move forward. That to me is much braver. And honestly, it's unrealistic. I'm 21 years out. I still can get nervous when I go to my oncologist and have my blood work done. I don't really realize it. It doesn't show up the same way. But I still go. I do that test. I realize there is something on the other side. If I can do this, then, there'll be another step. And it's really just, for me, very empowering.
Kind of moving beyond the fear.
It's like moving through it to something else, right? And so we are at 8 locations in Middle Tennessee. They can go to the YMCA website, look after breast cancer program. They'll connect you. You just call a person like me. I work at Green Hills. I'm the coordinator there, and we have programs. They run for 16 weeks. We'll have a new program that starts in January.
8 locations in Middle Tennessee.
8
Yeah,
locations in Middle
that is
Tennessee.
fantastic, and I bet there are people out there who can benefit from that. And
absolutely, we would love to have them.
Is what you're all about.
That's
is
right.
helping to fund these kinds of things,
That's
and then
right.
the research, and that's why this walk is going to be so important.
That is exactly right. That we're raising money to make a difference on both fronts. the community service as well as the research.
And we would love for them to put us out of business.
Yes.
You have my
doctor,
full
sure, the doctor.
permission. Full permission.
We're going to take a break. Then we're going to come back. We're going to put up all the information about the walk, make sure everybody's aware of that, go over all of that important information. Take a break. We'll be back right after this.